Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm here with Neat and Tangled, and I'm going to be sharing with you a dimensional stamp layering technique using the Scandinavian Prints stamp set, which just came out this past month and is one of our newest stamp sets. I'm using this today to create my layered stamp design that you saw in the picture there at the beginning of the video. I've got a few dye inks from Hero Arts, and I'm going to start by stamping the flower onto my card. Now, what I ended up doing was I started off creating one card and ended up changing my mind as I went along. So as you can see here, I thought I was going to be stamping the design onto the card panel itself, but I ended up deciding later on to cut it out and give it a lot more dimension. So you can see here I'm starting to layer it all up and it's going to be flat. However, I wanted it to have a more dimensional look, so right about when I was stamping these leaves, I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to create a layered effect. So here I'm stamping the leaves from the Scandinavian Prints stamp set with some green dye ink. This is lime green. I love this green color. It's so vibrant and reminds me so much of spring. I'm going to be layering these leaves to create a nice bit of framing for my flower. And once I have them all stamped out, I'm going to take one of the layering pieces and stamp that inside the petals to create a more dimensional and realistic look. I love stamp layering stamp sets because it really creates a fun design for your card and really takes your stamping from neat to really cool. So here's about where I decided, alright, now I'm going to start creating my layers. So I'm going to stamp this little sunburst looking layer along with the orange piece right there in the center. I'm going to be die cutting this using the coordinating Scandinavian Prints die set. I'm going to run that through my Big Shot machine just like so. And then once I have that die cut, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the flower. So I'm going to use that same teal color that I used on the original stamping. I'm going to stamp this onto my cardstock. And then I'm going to take a Copic marker. This is a BG34 marker. I'm going to color this completely in. This matched the coloring of that ink really nicely. So I'm just going to quickly shade this in, get that color laid down. I'm not doing any blending, just quickly coloring this in a solid color. And then once I have that colored in, I'm going to go ahead and die cut that as well using the coordinating dies. Alright, so now I'm going to put my panel together here. I'm going to layer up these flowers here onto my little leaf cluster. And I'm going to end up fussy cutting this out because I decided I did not want the sentiment there in those colors, and I wanted to have this look even more dimensional than just the flowers. And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and start adding some texture to my panel here that the leaves are going to be sitting on. So it's going to be laid out very similar to what you just saw there as I was putting the flower together. I'm taking a Distress splatter brush, and I'm also taking some Antique Linen and Gathered Twigs Distress inks. I'm going to be splattering these onto my Neenah Solar White cardstock. This is going to give it some texture and a little bit of a more organic look. I love the look of splatters. It's so beautiful. So I'll dry that, and then I'll go ahead and add in the Gathered Twigs just to give it a little bit more texture. And when I'm using the splatter brush, I'm making sure to use a little bit of water and a lot more paint. That's going to give me the splattered effect and the darker coloring. Now for the Gathered Twigs, I didn't want to go too dark, so I used a little bit more water than I did for the Antique Linen. But this helps give that panel a really nice organic look. You can see how this is going to pair up beautifully with our flower cluster here. So now I'm working on the sentiment. I'm going to be stamping this in Versamark ink. I'm actually using two stamp sets for the sentiment. I'm using Itty Bitty Welcoming Committee and also the Scandinavian Prints stamp set. And I'm going to be creating my own custom greeting, and I'm going to be putting that on there. It's going to say, "Thanks for always being there." I'm going to be stamping the rest of the sentiment here with some Wet Cement Shadow ink from Hero Arts. This is a really nice neutral gray. I love this color. Sorry about my head. I was getting that lined up. Once I have that all stamped down, I'm going to go ahead and start building my card. I've got some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock, and I'm going to be scoring this at 5 1/2 to create a top folding 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card. I've also got a piece of light yellow cardstock. I don't know what company this is. This is just some leftover cardstock I had in my stash. So I'm going to be layering this underneath my thanks panel, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach that down onto my card using some craft foam. I'm just using this craft foam here, and I'm using some Tim Holtz tonic scissors. I love these scissors. I just got them. They are absolutely awesome. They cut through things like butter. It's just absolutely wonderful. So once I've got that all ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing off of the tape that I've put down onto my card base, and I will attach my panel onto this, which has the foam tape on the back side. To finish things off, I'm going to go ahead and add some sequins. These are some buttercream ocean spray and also some pixie dust sequins that I'm adding around the flower just to kind of give a little bit, almost like a berry look, and it really adds a nice bit of interest. Now, one other thing I did was I wanted to add this bow on here using some baker's twine. However, I wanted to have the ends of the bow really kind of like looped around along the top portion of this panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue onto my finger, and I'm going to cover the ends of that baker's twine with the glue. And now I'm going to go ahead and lay this down and make sure it's kind of in the position that I wanted, and I'll do that to both ends. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some glue underneath the bow itself and hold that down with a clear block. And what this is going to do is once it dries, it will be in a perfect position that you've placed it in. So now that it is dried and I'm looking at the card myself in front of me, it is the ribbon ends are perfectly dried and hold their place right there along the areas that I've put them down. And this is a really great way to be able to add the look of a really perfect bow and make sure it stays that way all the time. So I hope you've enjoyed and got some inspiration on using our Scandinavian Prints stamp set to create some dimensional stamp layering. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, here's another one you might enjoy featuring some fun watercoloring techniques and also Neat and Tangled products. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. You can find me on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, as well as my blog. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.